When I worked in business-to-business sales, I sold to customers from across the country, whether it was the East Coast in New York, all the way to the West Coast in California. One customer that comes to mind is James and his wife, Angie. They were electrical engineers in Southern California. I went every day for an entire year and was unable to sell them product. Whether I took them donuts, tacos, drinks, coffee, flowers, not one time did they buy from me in my first year. And it was not until I realized the impact of culture and ethnicity on the way we communicate that I realized what I was doing wrong. Culture plays an important part when you're talking communication, because that is exactly how people view the world. The way they grow up, their culture is how they perceive others. And it wasn't until I realized that James and Angie, being from southern India and having relocated to California, had a different perception of who I was. And the everyday standard techniques of selling them something, traditional sales practices, were not going to work on them. No amount of donuts, no amount of coffee, and no bouquet of flowers was going to get them to buy from me if I didn't understand clearly what they were looking for in a salesperson. Ethnicity plays an important role because ethnicity is how people identify themselves. And if people cannot relate to you from an ethnic background point of view, or if you do not understand where they're coming from, they're not going to do business with you. There's going to be a large communication barrier in whatever you're trying to do. Now, when I think back to James and Angie, once I realized that where they're from, their cultural background, talking to them and being direct was not the solution that they were looking for. It wasn't until I understood in their culture, in their Indian culture, that I had to earn their trust, I had to earn their respect before I just started pushing products and sending them flowers and gifts. It didn't matter what I sent. If they didn't trust me, they were not going to buy from me. Ethnicity plays an important role in that because they're tied in together. Once I got to know them, I realized James didn't like me talking to Angie about how they do business. James wanted me to talk to James. And that is just something in their ethnic background where business is done man to man. And so we had to take Angie out of the equation. That didn't mean I couldn't take them donuts or tacos. That meant that James had to trust who I was and that I was there for them in order for him to buy from me. In closing, we have to remember that people are always thinking, what's in it for me? And how is this person approaching our conversation? Because it is in the approach, in the communication, that you're going to be able to conduct business and further move throughout your career.